As I was working on this story today, my mind drifted back to the first time I ever rode a BMW GS. That was more than a decade ago. Berlin, Germany. And at the time I had no idea that ride would stay with me for the rest of my life. Back when I was working for BMW, that job occasionally gave me opportunities most motorcycle riders only dream about. One of them was a visit to the BMW Motorrad-Fabrik in Berlin. This is where every GS motorcycle in the world begins its life. Walking through that factory, wearing a lab coat like everyone else on the production floor, you get the sense these machines are part of something bigger. There's history in that building, but Berlin itself is a city layered with history. During that visit, we explored the city, remnants of the Berlin Wall, Checkpoint Charlie, the Holocaust Memorial, and the site of Hitler's bunker. And then the next day, we left Berlin on motorcycles. For the first time in my life, I swung a leg over a BMW R1200 GS, an early air-cooled model. Old GS riders will understand this. The transmission shifted like a farm tractor, but somehow that big boxer engine and the clunky gearbox felt just right. It felt like a machine built to go somewhere, so we pointed the bikes north and rode out of Berlin. Just a few hours north of Berlin, the countryside opens into what the Germans call the Mecklenburg Lake District. Hundreds of lakes, small harbor towns, quiet roads that seemed to be made for motorcycles. There were 4 of us riding that day, all on GS bikes. My 3 riding buddies were all colleagues from BMW. That first trip north of Berlin was the moment I began to understand what the GS was really all about. It wasn't about speed. It wasn't about horsepower. It was about exploration. The GS felt like a passport to the world. And one place that left a lasting impression on me, the Seelower Heights. Standing there, looking across the valley, you realize one of the final battles of World War II was fought right here. Thousands of Soviet soldiers are buried on that quiet hillside. Places like that remind you that landscapes carry memory. One of my closest riding friends was a colleague from BMW. He spent most of his career working in the motorcycle division and had participated in launches all over the world. Over the years, I spent many weekends visiting with he and his wife in Germany. And not long after that first ride in the Berlin area, we found ourselves riding again. This time in northern Italy, Lake Garda. and then on another trip, the Dolomites. If you've ever ridden there, you know what I'm talking about. Mountain passes that twist and climb through some of the most beautiful landscapes in Europe. One of the highlights was Besuch der BMW, 2,200 meters above sea level. Standing there with friends surrounded by those mountains, you realize how lucky you are to be part of moments like that. We even attended a motorcycle rally where the legendary BMW racer Helmut Dane was present. My friend knew him well. The conversations at events like that always come back to the same things. The road, the machines, and the people you share them with. Some of the best rides of my life happened on those trips. The laughter, the conversations, and the shared miles winding through mountain passes. Those are the memories that stay with you. Years passed, and eventually I sold my BMW K100 RS and I bought my own GS. Working for BMW had one big advantage: employee pricing. This one is a very different machine from that first GS I rode out of Berlin. 5 riding modes, electronic suspension, ABS, quick shift, smoother, faster, more refined, but every time I start the engine, I still hear echoes of that first ride leaving the factory gates in Berlin. That's why I gave this motorcycle a name: the Berlin Bear. Berlin's symbol has always been a bear, strong, curious, always moving forward. And over time, the Berlin Bear has become something more than just a motorcycle. It's become my companion, the machine that carries me out onto the road, the thread that connects places, people, and memories. Berlin, the Lake District, the Dolomites, old friends, shared miles, stories that stay with you long after the ride is over. And today, the Berlin Bear carries those stories forward, not just for me, but for the people who ride along with me through these films, because every time I start the engine, there's another road waiting, another story unfolding, and somewhere ahead, another memory waiting to be made. Over the years, I've realized something about motorcycles. They're more than machines. They're the thread connecting places, people, and memories. And every rider has a bike like that. For me, it's the Berlin Bear.